Welcome back to the Yo Hockey Show, and today I am taking a look at the current series, the matchups, and as we are coming towards the end of the first round, a lot of eliminations could be happening soon, starting tonight. Well, actually, they could have started yesterday, but the Islanders survived. So I just want to take a look at all the series and just kind of talk about them real quick. So let's start off with the West. So the Kraken and the Avalanche. Now this is an interesting one, tied to the Avalanche overall in the series, in my eyes, have been the better team, even in Game 1, but the Kraken have been able to find ways to win, and especially in like last game, they're finding ways to win. They're holding off the Avalanche, and the Avalanche just not... when they get into their groove, right, when they play the Avalanche style, they're unstoppable, of course, right? But what's scary is that in my view, when the Kraken start pushing back offensively, they do look very dangerous. And Georgiev has not looked like the best goalie in the world. And the Avalanche as a whole, when it comes to offense, I don't think anyone touches them. But defensively, it seems like the Kraken, every time they shove, the Avalanche are breaking more than they are bending, and not snapping apart and they're a million pieces and they're miserable. But it just feels like the Kraken, when they're pushing for that goal, they're able to find it. And with the absence of now Cale Makar for this next game, and which is a vital one in Colorado, and that Seattle won Game 1 in Colorado, they're missing Cale Makar, their best defenseman, the best defenseman in the world. It could be kind of scary that guy, he scored a goal in one of their wins that really set off the team. He was an assist and a goal in that one. I think it was Game 3. That was kind of I think, in my opinion, the plays that won them the game. So, overall, this is a scary one. And with Nichushkin, I'm not entirely sure if he's out for a while or if it was just for the one game. I'm not entirely sure. I've been trying to figure that out. I'm not really getting anything back on it. So I don't know about Nichushkin. So that could be a very dangerous circumstance, not for the series as a whole, well it is, but specifically for this game in Colorado. If Seattle can come out with a win here, Cale Makar gets back in the lineup, they only need to win one more game. And those band of misfits over there in Seattle, I think, are definitely capable of pulling off one more win. One win, that's all they need. So this is a very important one for Colorado to shut things down defensively, keep things out of their own zone when they do, keep it along the boards, and don't let the Kraken do their sneaky play, their forecheck into the boards behind the net, and they find that one guy up in front and no one's covering him. So dangerous one for the Avalanche. I think they can survive. I still think they're going to win the series, but if the Kraken are able to take a hold of this game coming up, I think it's tonight, and win this one with the Cale Makar lineup, that would be huge for them to win this series. Dallas and Minnesota, not Seattle. Now, 3-2 is the series for Dallas, and Minnesota overall has been the better team, but they've been making a few mistakes against a very, very offensive team that scores even when they don't have a very good opportunity to score, and they've given up a few mistakes, and they're not solving Jake Ottinger. Jake Ottinger is their number one reason they're losing this series right now, and there's a really easy way, and Dean Evason even said it. This team, this Minnesota team, they're big, they're tall, they're strong, right? What do you do? In my eyes, when you play like that, how do you score? Well, you try to crash the net, right? You outbody the guy, you found the rebounds and score, right? Yeah. Well, that's not what this team does. This team likes to go on 2-on-1s, which is fantastic to score, but they don't score in them. You know why? Because Jake Ottinger's too much of a beast, and he stops it all the time. So they need to figure out a system where they can instead of do what Dadonov did, do what the Stars have been doing, where they'll come into the zone, cut towards the middle, let the lineup of guys in front of Gustafsson form, and then shoot it. That's all they need to do, and they've got big guys. Sundqvist, put him out there, put him in front of the net, play him like Patrick Hornqvist does. Just stand there, take Ottinger's eyes, send it on net, get a rebound, and he's just going to shovel that thing past anybody, right? And I know it's easy for you to say, but at least do something, because what they're doing isn't working. They need to figure out another way of scoring, because obviously just trying to shoot it 2-on-1s or 3-on-nothings isn't going to work. So Jake Ottinger's too good. They need to solve him. And Dallas is not to say that they're pushovers. They're looking ready to win. And I think tomorrow night might be the night that they pull it off, because they look ready to win. and I don't think the Minnesota Wild are going to change their play. I think they're going to continue the way they're doing, and I think they're going to lose the game 4-2 against the Stars. Moving on to the Winnipeg Jets and the Vegas Golden Knights. This one's 3-1, and this was scary because in Game 1, in my opinion, I was like, I think the Jets have this series. And going off of Game 1, I was like, yep, they definitely have this series. Because Winnipeg, I feel like they're the most underrated playoff team of them all. Like, they have all the pieces there. Goaltending, offense, and defense when it shows up, really. But Vegas, especially in Game 1, we all know the story. They literally looked out like an AHL team. I don't know what the hell was wrong with them. They were missing passes. They weren't skating. They don't even look like an AHL team. They looked like a lazy, drunk ECHL team. That's what they looked like. And they've bounced back. They're finally playing Vegas hockey. Not as much as I would like them to. I still feel like they're missing that. Maybe because they haven't really played in Vegas since they really started going. So maybe going back to Vegas for this next game, the Knights can finally get into their style of the chants in the crowd and the crazy atmosphere and how crazy they are. And I feel like they're still missing that. I think they're going to get back into the groove. And they have in Winnipeg, so I think they're going to continue that. And Winnipeg, I don't really know what they need to do. They haven't looked terrible, but they need to figure out, for one, instead of giving up the lead and having to climb back, if they could hold on to the league. Connor Hellebuyck hasn't been bad, but I feel like he does. I don't want to say he's definitely not bad. Hellebuck's an amazing goaltender, but in my view, sometimes the goals that are scored against him, it's like Hellebuck's supposed to be a Vezina candidate goaltender, which he is, but it's kind of like the Vasilevsky in their series, where it's like, yeah, Tampa's not looking like he isn't really looking that bad, but he's just not saving the game like Jake Ottinger is, you know. So for me, Winnipeg, they need to challenge Brossoit a little bit more, and they need Hellebuyck to kind of stand up a little more. That's really what I think it comes down to. And overall, 3-1, I think Vegas has got this in the bag. I don't think Winnipeg might take the win. Who knows on Vegas ice, but to get 3 wins in a row against this Vegas team that are finding their style, I think is going to be pretty tough. Last in the West, we've got the Oilers winning 3-2 over the LA Golden Knights. Yeah, the LA Kings, 3-2. They're going back to LA, so Will Ferrell will be in the building, and this series is absolute nonsense, and I don't know what to say about it. I usually, I have an opinion on everything, but I have nothing to say about this one. I have no clue what's going to happen. Every game, just what you think won't happen is exactly what does happen. Comebacks of 3-0 for both teams. But overtime, where, the team scores a goal and you can't, and it's like, well, that was high sticking. But it's not high sticking according to the referees. There's no way of telling what's going to happen in this series. LA, sure, there might be, the Oilers might only need one more win to win the series, but 2 wins is not impossible. It's far from impossible with this series, and I think this series has gone back and forth each win. So I would not be surprised if the LA Kings win this one, and then it goes to Game 7, and that's where one of them will finally pull out the final win. And yeah, I have no opinions on this series. It's just too ludicrous. It makes no sense. I've got nothing to say about it, so I'm just going to leave that one alone. Moving to the East, Boston leading 3-1, going home to Boston against the Florida Panthers. If there was a team that had the capability of pulling off a 3-win comeback, I would not be surprised if it was the Florida Panthers. I know I've been rooting for them the entire time. Florida has the offense. They have that pure offense. And if they could drop everything and just go for broke and go for Hail Marys every time they're on the ice, and they really push the Boston Bruins to the brink, and they can pull out a win, 7-5 win one game. Next game, they go back to Florida. Maybe they play a little bit more conservatively, but they still go out for the Hail Marys, and Bobrovsky stands on it, or Lion stands on his head, and they can get another 5-3 win. And then they go to Game 7, and things really need to be shut down. And then, guys like Matthew Tkachuk stand up and gets a hat trick and gets the team a 6-2 victory, right? This is the type of team that could pull it off. I wouldn't say Tampa Bay could do it against the Bruins. I wouldn't say the Islanders or the Golden Knights could do it against the Bruins. But if there was a team that was specifically made to create offense, it's the Florida Panthers, and they've got a goaltender in net in Lyon or maybe Bobrovsky. We know he's done it before. That can pull a team to a victory and get them that win and pull out the 7-5 wins and win 3 in a row. It would be the Panthers. So don't write them off yet, but it is definitely in Boston's favor. I definitely think they're going to win. But they can do it, and I wouldn't be that surprised if they could pull it off. Tampa versus Toronto. Toronto leading 3-1 going into Game 5 in Toronto. All the signs are pointing to the Maple Leafs looking good and winning their first series in my lifetime, and that's pretty crazy. Even the Coyotes have won a series in my lifetime, right? So, like, the Maple Leafs, they finally are going to do it in Toronto, but we know their past. We know their Maple Leafs past. We know their history just in the last 5 years or whatever. They've led the series. They led against the Montreal Canadiens, of all teams, 3-1, and they couldn't beat them, right? So they can't get too confident in themselves, and I think this might be the year where they're finally like, we're not giving up this time. We are not doing this, and I do think they will batten down the hatches. It doesn't seem good enough for the Tampa Bay Lightning to turn it around, but Tampa, I mean, if there was, once again, another team that could save themselves from a 3-1 deficit to the Toronto Maple Leafs, it would be the Tampa Bay Lightning. I mean, they've done it for so many years now. This team is the best crafted team probably in all of history. The Bruins for one season, yes, but for the amount of time they've been just on top of the league, if there was a team that could win 3 games, because it's not that impossible, people. 3 wins in a row is not impossible. If maybe 4 wins, a reverse sweep, yes, that might be impossible. It's near impossible, but 3 wins in a row could definitely be, is not the craziest thing that could ever happen. And if there was a team that could pull it off, it's easily the Tampa Bay Lightning. But Toronto looking pretty good to win this one. New York Islanders versus the Carolina Hurricanes. This one, the Islanders, this was the first series to have a potential elimination game. But the Islanders survived it, winning it, and they make it 2-3 as the series. New York, they could pull it off. They could find that defense in Sorokin in net and shut down the Carolina Hurricanes. But the Hurricanes at every turn, even in that game that they just won, I will say, like, the Islanders look good, but the Carolina Hurricanes were right there. They were right on them, and they just weren't the team that won. The Islanders, I don't want to say they got lucky, but they just barely got by them. So they could find it. 2 wins in a row without letting the Hurricanes win with Sorokin in that defense and their offense out there. They could do it, but the Islanders are looking right there. The Hurricanes look just as good as them, if not better. And I think the Hurricanes have got this one on lock. And then the same thing with another bottom team, the New York Rangers and the New Jersey Devils. Tied 2-2 going back to New Jersey. I don't know what to think about this series. I thought that the Rangers were going to, I think I picked them to sweep them or win 5-1, 5 games. But obviously not the case. The New Jersey Devils, they found a life in the last 2 games, which were away. Maybe these 2 teams need to swap places because maybe one plays better at home in another place. I don't know. But I don't know what to think about this series either. Like, I thought this was going to be an easy win for the Rangers with their experience and the talent that they have. But the young Devils rebelling against that and are just pulling out wins and tying up the series, which is crazy. So I don't know what to think about that one either. But that is all I have to say. So if you've somehow enjoyed this, please, I'm begging you, subscribe. Please, I'm begging you. And until next time, too sweet. Have an amazing day, and ta-ta for now.